I'd like to call this meeting of the Westland City Council to order, please. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, tonight led by several members of the Wayne Westland Soccer League.
Oh, there we go. My name's Dominic and I play everything.
Hold on, kids. Councilwoman Green's gonna be right there to help me.
Now we're going to start with the pledge. Okay, the flag's right there. Okay. So on three. 1, 2, 3. All right. So can you guys kind of gather in here? We'll make room for everybody. Thank you so much for coming this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are greeted by the Wayne Westland Soccer League. They have 3 different groups of children here in 3 different soccer leagues, and they're very excited to share with you this evening their names and the positions that they play. So you want to start us off?
My name is Connor. I play left forward.
Awesome. You want to pass it that way?
My name is Jaden and I play right mid.
My name is Wyatt, and I play left defense.
My name is Ethan, and I play defense. My name is Matthew, and I play goalie and defense.
My name is Sahil and I play middle D.
My name's Elijah Elliott, and I play left and right forward.
My name is Jackson Wyatt and I play left forward and mid.
My name is Ben, and I play mid and right forward.
My name's Dominic and I play every position.
My name is Andrew, and I play defense.
My name is Emily, and I play keeper. My name is Omar, and I play goalkeeper and left forward.
My name is Jonathan, and I play left defense.
My name is Evan Palker, and I play midfielder.
My name is Devin and I play defense.
My name is Antonio Valero. I play defense. My name is Viviana and I play mid.
My name's Autumn and I play goalie.
My name is Madeline, I play keeper.
My name is Jalen, and I play defense.
My name is Wyatt Egan and I play I'm forward.
My name is Liam, and I play striker.
My name is Casey, and I play defense.
My name's Landon, and I play outside mid.
My name is Aiden, and I play mid.
My name's Delaney, and I play mid. My name's Kaylee, and I play striker.
Awesome. So I got the memo they sent me about the black and red, so we are looking so good tonight. So if everybody could come to the center, we want to have you face all the parents so we can get a really nice snapshot of you. But before we do, we have at least one coach here with us tonight. Come on in, kids. We can come on in just a little bit more. Any coaches that would like to say a few words regarding the kids in the league, or a parent representative who would like to speak on behalf of the coach?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Mayor Wild and the council for having us in tonight to lead the pledge. These kids work extremely hard on and off the field. I don't know if most people know this or not, but this is an all-volunteer organization from the top down. There's nobody paid in this organization, and these kids work extremely hard to compete at the highest level. Our program is about a sixth to the eighth, or at least an eighth of a cost of most of the surrounding areas, and yet we're not only able to compete, but beat these teams in these surrounding areas, and these kids work real hard at that, and these are our future leaders in front of us, so we're very thankful to have us in tonight, and Thank you.
Awesome. Let's give them a round of applause. If you guys want to come back towards me and we can kind of all scooch in. You want to back up just a little bit away from the podium so we can see all your smiling faces? And we're going to look at that nice gentleman right there with the camera. Thank you very much. That way, and we'll meet all the parents.
I think that's the biggest group we've had.
Yeah, no doubt.
Does the junior mess.
No doubt.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green. Councilman Hart. Councilman Hammonds. Councilman Hersberg. Councilman Johnson. Councilman Londo. President Godbout.
Present.
A quorum is present.
Begin with announcements and presentations. Bruce?
Thank you, Council President, and council members, Mayor. I just wanted to take an opportunity to remind everybody that we have our Master Plan Summit meeting coming up this upcoming Monday, February 26th at 6:30. It's a very exciting time for the city, following in its 50th anniversary, a chance for everybody to get together and plan the future of the city for the next 5 years, the next 10 years, and beyond. The master plan meeting is really going to be twofold, just so everybody's got a good idea of what it's going to be like. One is in general the master plan, setting goals and objectives for the city, looking at the future land use map as well for the city as a whole. But a second part of it is something a little bit newer to the city of Westland, but something that we've all been working on very closely and carefully with the consultants, and that's our non-motorized transportation plan. And for those that don't know what that means, basically it's a bike plan, walkable plan, looking at future places to put bike paths in streets and off streets, connecting parkways, the North Rouge with the Lower Rouge, all of that with the I-275 bike corridor, just coming up with plans for the future so that Westland can be more pedestrian and more bicycle friendly. For any of you that want to stay up with the master plan process, not just be part of the meeting on Monday, which by the way is open to everybody, all citizens, board members, council members, obviously, planning commissioners, anybody that wants to come is invited to help give their input. We still do have the Advancing Westland webpage. That's the website specifically for the master plan. Thanks to our IT department, you can still get to it on the city's webpage. You can sign up there and receive notice when meetings are coming up and keep up to date with how the master plan is advancing. Just from a process standpoint, just so that everybody knows, especially the council, since I'm here addressing you this evening, once the final draft plan is created, and that will be created by the consultants after Monday's meeting, it goes to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission will forward it to the City Council. Things have changed with Act 33 of 2008, which is your current Planning, Zoning, Enabling Act. It actually started involving the legislative body in review of the master plan, where prior to that it was strictly the Planning Commission. So we'll update council as to when you're going to see that document, and you as a board have the opportunity to review that document as a whole, make any suggestions back to the Planning Commission so that the final draft document can be created, and then the Planning Commission holds its public hearing, and away we go. So once again, I look forward to everybody coming out next Monday, 6:30 p.m. It's right here in the Grand Ballroom of Westland City Hall. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to contact me directly in my office. My line is 734-467-3219. Of course, you can email me anytime as well. Thank you.
Thanks. I don't see Len here. Chief?
Thank you, Council President, Council, and Mayor. I just want to remind everybody that the mayor had announced some time ago that the fire department had received a federal FEMA grant to launch a smoke detector initiative within the city. That program is in its final phase, ready for implementation. Now we have ordered 10,300 sealed 10-year lithium-ion smoke detectors, which is awesome for the community. Basically, we've mailed out 27,000 applications and flyers with some information that hopefully you've gotten at your home by now. If you have not, they are coming. But basically, it's to target our high-risk populations in the city, our elderly and those who cannot afford smoke detectors in their home. We will install them per current code compliance outside of them being hardwired and interconnected, but we will install them in every bedroom, on every floor, and outside of sleeping areas as required by current code. And again, they are a 10-year battery, so you don't have to worry about replacing them twice a year like we change our clocks. Currently, it's our administrative staff installing them as the applications come in, but soon our engine crews will have them and they'll identify the need in the field for installation. One thing that is required by the grant is you do have to fill out an application, and it does have to be installed by our firefighters, so you can't come to the office and take smoke detectors with you. They do have to be installed. You can call our office if you have any questions at 734-467-3201. Applications are available there. I'll also direct you to the City of Westland website under the fire department link, where you can print off your own application or you can fill out one electronically. So I would encourage everybody to fill one out. We certainly have to install them by priority as to target our high-risk population, but we would like to get as many as we can installed. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. We'll move on to citizens' questions or input on the agenda. Citizens will be recognized before the business of the meeting commences to address the council pertaining to items that are specifically on the business agenda. Citizens are asked to limit their questions or input to 3 minutes. Is there anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Anyone? Mr. Graham?
Richard Graham, Westland, also with Move Westland Forward. One thing on the vouchers, page 18 of 19, I see under tax refund or tax fund under tax refund, an amount of $165,000. Looks like going back to Macy's. So wanted to know what this is, I guess why the credit, and does that total amount come out of the city, or is it divided up based on how the money is divided up anyway? Thank you.
Anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Anyone else in the audience? We'll close citizens' comment.
Good evening. My name is Elsie Fraser Trivetti, and I've been a resident of the city of Westland for at least 20 years. I'm very concerned about the neighborhood where I live. I had a contractor to come to my home because I've decided I want to build a garage. Now, I didn't mention this to anyone in the neighborhood, but the city advised them that I wanted a garage. So I said, okay, I have no problem with that. But my problem is that we have, excuse me, a lot of different homes that have opened up with different kinds of people. I don't know if they're licensed or not, but what bothers me, there are 3 group homes I've counted in the area. I see the children when they get off the bus, and then some of the men in one of the homes, they come out, they sit on the porch, and they are watching these children. And so the parents are now coming and picking them up. Why have you not advised us that we have group homes in our neighborhood? I'm very, very concerned about that.
Ma'am?
My other problem is,
Ma'am, we'll try and get you a response towards the end of the meeting. This is for items that are on our agenda.
oh, I'm sorry.
Okay? There's another opportunity to speak at the end of the meeting, and I'll call you back up at that point in time, and you can continue the conversation, and we'll hopefully try and get some answers for you, or at least get some information so that somebody can get back to you.
All right, then I'm sorry. I
No
was not
problem.
aware. Thank you.
Anyone else on the agenda? Anyone else have questions on the agenda? We'll move on to we'll close citizens' comments on the agenda and move on to the consent calendar. Is there a motion?
Support.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, supported by Councilman Hersberg. Councilman Hammonds, did you?
Thank you. Through the chair to Steve Smith, I've got a question with regards to item B, with regards to the pump. Can you let me know where the funds are going to come from to pay for this and the repayment process?
Yes, through the chair to Councilman Hammonds. The funds will be part of a third quarter budget amendment, but it'll come out of the capital improvement fund, the $57,000.
Okay. And then again, to the chair to Mr. Smith, in the event that the golf course were to close in the next fiscal budget, how would the repayment happen?
Through the chair, once the pump is installed, it would create the invoice, so that would be paid. And if the golf course is closed, then there wouldn't be any type of refund for the pump unless unless you can get something for the pump. But
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you.
Any other discussion from the council? Any other discussion? Councilwoman Green?
Yes, I'm also discussing item B, the pump for the golf course. I had the opportunity to speak with Brian. He did say that he was going to be calling all of the council members to get feedback on whether we would be willing to approve this expenditure. And I just wanted to add for the record that Brian was very clear in terms of this pump being one that was built or made in the 70s. It's no longer functional or operable. The contract, if approved, will have a 9-week delay before the part would come in, and that it would work in terms of keeping the golf course green, so on and so forth. Now, my concern, which I did share with Brian, although all those are very valid facts, my concern relative to this expense is the fact that this item did not receive 3 comparable bids. When it went out to bid, it went out for a period of 2 weeks, and there was one bid that came in, a company from Ohio, provided a $57,000 roughly quote. And due to budget projections that we have, and my focus being very much on being fiscally smart, I posed several questions to him in terms of if we will not utilize this pump until the middle of summer, and we're just now in February, why would we not get 3 comparable bids? I impressed upon or shared with him that if this were in my lap, I could get him 2 more comparable bids by the end of this week. I also shared with him my concern in terms of us as council people are supposed to make smart decisions with the money of the city. And if this were I'll just average it up to $60,000. We are executives of the city. So this is the business of running the city of Westland. If this $60,000 were coming out of my account and an executive that I employed came to me with budgetary issues and said, I sent it out for 2 weeks, I got 1 bid, that's the best I can do, I would then require that it goes back out In my 18 years of professional experience, I am fully aware and have done business with multiple companies that are local to the Southeast Michigan area that would possibly be willing to provide quotes. And what I asked Brian was in terms of, because his commentary was, well, the charter only requires that we send it out to bid and we've done our due diligence or we've done our part. My concern as a council member is there is nothing wrong with being proactive, picking up the phone, saying, hey, I got a project going on. Can I fax you the scope of work? I'd like you to submit a bid so that we can make sure we're getting the best dollar and the best quality of work for Westland. And so for those reasons, and because we only had one bid, we are not in the middle of summer. If this were July and the grass were going to brown, then absolutely we have to make a snap and quick decision. I don't feel that we are at that point right now in February, and for that reason, I cannot support this request as it is written. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion from the council? Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green.
No.
Councilman Hammonds.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Londo.
Yes.
President Godbout.
Yes.
Motion passes. Council has approved the following consent calendar items. Minutes of the regular meeting held February 5, 2018. Approval of bid for professional services related to the removal and replacement of the existing irrigation pumping station at the Westland Municipal Golf Course. Administration recommended the lone bidder, Pro Pump and Controls, in the amount of $57,165. Adoption of Budget Amendment 2018-01, first and second quarter 2017-18 fiscal year. This item had been introduced February 5, 2018. Introduction of Ordinance 238A2, an ordinance to amend the Westland City Code by amending Article 5, Division 4, Sections 2-301 to 2-303, to allow the appointment of 2 alternate board members to the Assessing Board of Review. Last item on the consent calendar, adoption of prepared resolution honoring SEMCOG's 50th anniversary. Moving on to new business. Item 1, adoption of prepared resolution authorizing the city to apply for a special one-day liquor license for beer sales at the annual Red Wings Alumni Charity Hockey Game on Friday, March 16, 2018.
Support. Motion by Councilman Johnson, supported by Councilman Landau. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business, item 2, approval of application from the city of Westland for a one-day liquor license to sell beer at the annual Red Wings Alumni Charity Hockey Game on Friday, March 16, 2018.
Support. Motion by Councilman Johnson, supported by Councilman Hersberg. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business, item 3, approval of a revised site plan for proposed alteration to approved addition to the office clubhouse, Woodland Villa Apartments, 7350 Drew Circle, north side of Warren, west of Central City Parkway. Planning Commission recommends approval contingent upon departmental requirements and recommendations. This is Planning Department number 1230, revision 2.
Motion by Councilman Landau, supported by Councilman Hersberg. Mr. Thompson?
Thank you, sir. Just as a quick review, this is a site plan that shows the area around the clubhouse, existing building, the pool, and the proposed addition. Approximately a year ago, Woodland Villa was here before this council requesting an amendment to their site plan for what was to be a 2-story addition to that clubhouse. Since that time, they've changed the program, and they are looking at only doing a 1-story addition. Because of the amount of floor change percentage, the ordinance specifically requires that they come back for city council for revised site plan approval again. The footprint stays the same. The only thing that's different is it's a 1-story addition versus a 2-story addition. All affected departments have reviewed it, sir. Approval is recommended.
Thank you. Is the petitioner present? Do you have anything you'd like to add? Okay. there any discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 4, approval of proposed rezoning from CB1 Low Intensity Commercial Business to CB3 General Commercial Business, northeast corner of Ford Road and Morley Avenue. Planning Commission recommends approval contingent upon departmental requirements and recommendations, and further directs the city attorney to draft the necessary ordinance amendment. This is Planning Department number 2206.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Landau. Is there support? Support by Councilman Hart. Mr. Thompson?
Thank you. There are 3 cases on the agenda for this site this evening, so I'm just going to go through the site real quick, give you a general description. This is the site. It's on the north side of Ford Road, west of Newburgh at Morley. It's a vacant property. It's zoned right now CB1, low-intensity commercial. There's a lot of development going on in this area. Looking to the south, this is an area that was zoned CB3. It's now has a PUD designation. The commercial frontage is what you see here in this photograph, but currently at the rear of the property, the Sienna Health Senior Congregate Care Facility is under construction. To the east, a property zone CB4, vehicle service, which is gas station convenience store, and then to the west, the existing shopping center, also zoned commercial. This is a colored version of the site plan, just for reference purposes. North is to the top, so Ford Road is at the bottom of the picture, Morley to the left. This is the building in its orientation, 1,865 square foot, 1-story Taco Bell restaurant with a drive-through. The drive-through is at the west end of the site. The site will only have access to Ford Road. There will be no access to Morley. They have parking in excess of the minimum standards, stacking spaces as required. The building itself is a brick building predominantly. Some images here for you, 19 foot high. All of the other site amenities, off-street loading, dumpster enclosures, lighting, stormwater, all meet or exceed ordinance standards. The one point I did want to make from a standpoint of this being adjacent to residential, the petitioner in this particular case is actually doubled up on screening, so there'll be a 6-foot high screening wall, which is the minimum requirement, but they're also doing the full buffering requirement as well on top of that. So it's in essence double protection for the single family homes to the north. So with the rezoning, as you know, council president, council members, you're asked to look at specific criteria in the ordinance, existing zoning in the area, existing uses in the area, and as you can see, it's predominantly commercial along this part of Ford Road. This use, the zoning that's proposed as part of it is consistent with that. The site, whether or not it's suitable for the use is permitted under the zoning. In this particular case, the CB1 allows restaurants. This is a restaurant use. It's specifically the drive-through that is the reason for the request by the petitioner to that CB3 designation. The last is trend of developments in the area, and as you've seen, we have a lot of new development going on, not only at the southwest corner of Ford and Newburgh right across the street, but we've seen a very similar development to this. In fact, it just opened up recently, the Popeyes at Ford and Wildwood, a very similar set of requests, if you will, to what you're seeing this evening, and a lot of other exciting things going to be happening on Ford Road here in the near future. It is consistent with the master plan as well, sir. That's the last criteria. So taking that into account, the Planning Commission did hold a public hearing. They did forward a recommendation for approval as one, the use, the proposed rezoning will provide for a zoning designation is consistent with zoning in the area, will result in rezoning that is consistent with uses as well in the general area, will result in development of a site that will be consistent with uses that would otherwise not occur under the zoning designation, and the proposed development would not be detrimental to trends in the area and will not have a negative influence on the public interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Is the petitioner present?
Good evening, Mr. Council President, Mayor, and Council. My name is Jack Knowles. I represent Ford Morley Investments. Mr. Thompson has done his usual thorough job. His review and analysis pretty much matched what we submitted with the application. I don't have anything further to add, but I'm here to answer any questions relative to the rezoning aspect of this.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the council? Any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
New business item 5, approval of special land use for proposed fast food restaurant with drive-through, northeast corner of Ford Road and Morley Avenue. Planning Commission recommends approval as the proposed use meets the special land use standards of the zoning ordinance. This is Planning Department number 2206A.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Hart. Is there support? Support by Councilman Johnson. Mr. Thompson, do you have anything?
Just that, again, your specifics criteria that you need to look at when looking at a special land use. And at the Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission found that this site meets or exceeds all the special land use standards of the zoning ordinance. Therefore, they recommend approval in this case as well, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Is there any discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 6, approval of site plan for proposed Taco Bell restaurant with drive-through, northeast corner of Ford Road and Morley Avenue. Planning Commission recommends approval contingent upon departmental requirements and recommendations. This is Planning Department number 2206B.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Hart. Is there support? Support by Councilman Landau. Mr. Thompson?
Just one more thing, sir. The site plan that you have before you meets or exceeds all ordinance requirements. Therefore, again, approval is recommended in this case. Thank you.
Thanks. Councilman Hammonds?
Thank you. Through the chair to Mr. Thompson, can you touch on the exterior materials that are going to be used on that building, and is it consistent with the building that is there to the west?
Yes, thank you through the chair. This is to be a brick building, just as the ordinance requires, and it will be consistent with all of the buildings around it that have been built to that same brick standard. There are some other highlights in this with cement board and that, but it is predominantly a brick building, just like all the buildings around it.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Councilman Landau.
Thank you, President Godbout. Through the chair to Bruce Thompson. Will they follow the Ford Road streetscape like a lot of the other businesses on Ford Road in the DDA district?
Yes, thank you through the chair. That's a good point. I appreciate you bringing that up. As council does, they do allow the substitution for the DDA streetscape for the standard street side berming and landscaping, and that is part of the plan that you have before you this evening. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the council? Any further discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 7, approval of proposed land division, parcels number 07999006200 and 0063000, west side of John Hicks Road, north of Glenwood Road. Planning Commission recommends approval contingent upon departmental requirements, recommendations, and further directs the city attorney to draft the necessary land division resolution. This is Planning Department number 2207.
Motion by Councilman Herzberg. Is there support? Support. Support by Councilman Landau. Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, sir. This is a predominantly residential area. This is some of the property. This is the south side of the property, the site, and the north. Again, as the clerk had indicated, on the west side of Hicks Road, north of Glenwood. Properties to the north, south, east, and west are all zoned the same R-1 single-family residential. What you have currently is 2 lots, one with a home, the one on the north. So for reference purposes, John Hicks is to the right. And what the proposal is to take these 2 lots, do a split and combination, create 4 brand new single-family home sites on John Hicks off of that larger southerly parcel. The remainder of that southerly parcel then will be attached to the northerly parcel to create 1 lot there. So in essence, we're taking 2 lots, creating a total of 5, 4 which will be brand new home sites for buildable homes in the R1 district. All lots that are proposed exceed lot width and lot area standards. Therefore, approval is recommended, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Petitioner? Al?
Good evening, Mr. Council President, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Al Bright. I'm the petitioner.
Do you have anything you wanted to add to?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there any discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
New business, item 8, approval of voucher.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Hart, or Councilman Hammonds, sorry. Supported by Councilman Hersberg. There was a question on item 18 and 19, or item on page 18 or 19. Mr. Smith.
Yes, through the chair to the resident. The refund for Macy's was due to a Michigan Tax Tribunal judgment, and that affects the 2017 taxes. And the refund will come from all taxing jurisdictions, including the county, the schools, the city, and some of it will even come from the Tifa because that property falls within the Tifa district. So, and that's for 2017 taxes. So if I could, through the chair, respond to some of Council Members Green's comments on the bid process, if I could. As Council's aware, we are required to post it by charter in the city-approved newspaper, which we did. In addition to that, we had sent out bids to 20 vendors that we thought may bid on it. And we welcome, if someone knows a company before the bid goes out, we can surely send them a packet so they can participate in the bidding process. In addition to that, we did post it on the city's website, as we always do. And then we also posted it on Mitten, which is the Michigan Intergovernmental Trade Network. And there were over 75 companies within that network that downloaded that RFP for that project. So in addition, there were 5 companies that inquired through email with regards to the project. Obviously, this, we would want more than one bid, but we feel there was enough exposure of the bid out there that enough companies saw it. And obviously we can't determine why they did or didn't bid, but it did hit a lot of different companies out there. So, and the Mitten network, there's over 100 cities that are part of that network, and a lot of the vendors go to that looking for possible bids throughout Southeast Michigan, actually throughout Michigan itself. There is that too. So we feel we got a good representation of getting the bid out there. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Councilwoman Green.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Smith. I just wanted to just follow up on your comments. When I spoke to the new Parks and Rec Director, Brian, at length and asked him about the bid process, he did not at any point disclose the 20 companies that you just mentioned. His position was it was posted according to the charter. Only one bid came in, which is coincidentally a company from Ohio that does a lot of work for the city and neighboring cities. That is a trusted company. So that is being mentioned tonight. As the director of that entire division, I would hope that he would be aware or involved in the bidding process so that when he is calling to get support, that he actually knows the facts surrounding the contracts that he is asking council to approve. In terms of you following the charter like you stated, I did state as well that Brian said the charter was followed. My position is we can do a little bit more as professionals than to post a bid for 2 weeks and get a $60,000 cost from one company, according to what he told me. And I appreciate the information you're sharing tonight, but I don't think investing 10 or 15 minutes and picking up the phone and letting companies know that, hey, I haven't gotten any bids. Are you interested in bidding on this work? I would expect that if the money were coming from my bank account, as I stated, and I will not support any expenses that the city puts before me that do not appear to be bidded out with comparable bids. that we rush through a quick bid process and with taxpayer dollars. So I appreciate you clarifying that, but I would have appreciated if Brian would have provided or even known that information when he phoned me a week ago. So thank you.
Are there any other questions on the vouchers? Any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. We'll move on to citizens' comments or requests. Citizens will be recognized at the end of the meeting immediately following the agenda item approval of vouchers. Citizens are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. All citizens wishing to speak will be heard. Is there anyone on my right? Anyone on my left? Anyone in the audience?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. I have 3 things I'd like to bring to your attention, Mayor. Good evening. I've been living in a Willow Creek apartment for 10 years. I love the environment of Westland. It's beautiful. But I'm very concerned about walking down the street because the neighbors neglect on shoveling the snow. Now, when I gotta walk down the street, I gotta walk in the street where the driver's driving down the street, run me over. So I take a wave on them and say, can you please move to the next section? And they do. But that's very inconsiderate because I'm a person walking down the sidewalk. I don't want to get hit. No one else wants to get hit by a car. Please, can we have something done about that? Lord Jesus, help us. Next thing, I live in Willow Creek apartment. People that come to visit me, even the mayor, for instance, come to visit me, you cannot see where my parking, where you come in the parking lot. There's no lighting. Can we have something done, please, about that? Please, Lord Jesus, help us. Now, also, I go to a gas station, particular gas station, every morning. I'm waiting in line, and I'm very, very disappointed because I'm retired. But I'm waiting in line, my turn. Now, the manager is asking me, can I step to the side to let this person go in front? That's not fair to me. I'm very disappointed. I would like to talk to the Shell management about that, because if Mayor is behind me, I'm pretty sure he will wait his turn. But why is it fair that the mayor is better than I am, or this person is better than I am, step to the side and let this person go? If you got to go to lunch or dinner or whatever, you're in line, wait your turn. I'm pretty sure your mother and your father's told you, be patient, wait your turn. I'm in line. Why do I have to move to the side to let you go there? No, that's very inconsiderate. And I have gray hair. And my wife even saying, don't get your feathers up. But that's very inconsiderate. Now I will respect this gentleman, and I will respect you. But some things, is it fair that I got to get out of line because you are better than I am, or you going to work, or you running late for lunch? No, that's not fair. Lord Jesus, help us. Thank you very much.
Anyone on my right? Anyone on my, Mrs. Kozak?
From J. Kozak, Westland. Good evening, members of the City Council, members of the City Government. Last July, we received an email from Wayne County Parks Legal Department, and I have copies of the emails to pass out. The email states that the City of Westland got rid of the parks designation. Therefore, by default, William P. Holiday Nature Preserve bears R1 designation. I believe the city officials can understand the distress the residents would have with this knowledge. At this time, we are making a request that the park designation be brought back and the new updated master plan, as well as the zoning map, accessed on the city's website bear this correction. Your consideration into this matter is greatly appreciated. Also, we would like to thank the Pro Tem Hertzberg and Councilman Landau for hosting the last council meeting. President Gabel was present, greatly appreciated. These meetings can serve the purpose for greater understandings between the community and the city officials, elected or otherwise, to speak about issues that concerns all of us in an informal setting. So this is a good thing. Finally, we would like to thank the Westland Police Department and the Fire Department. We are grateful for your dedication and service, for endlessly and tirelessly putting your interests aside to serve the people in your community. I can't even begin to adequately describe the challenges you face. Yours is a special calling. Thank you for serving and protecting all of us. Thank you. Can I approach to give the copies, or should I wait?
Just give them to Councilman, or to
Okay.
the city clerk. He'll get them to us.
Thank you, Vice President.
So anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Anyone else in the audience? We'll close citizens' comments and move on to comments from the administration. Mayor?
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Council, I'd like to start off tonight just by recognizing our Department of Public Service since the last council meeting. You never know by looking out the door today, but this time last week we had about somewhere between 7 and 10 inches of snow, which started on a Friday afternoon and went all weekend. And so DPS, they hit the roads on Friday afternoon, and they pretty much worked nonstop until Monday afternoon, and they did a really incredible job getting our roads cleared, getting the neighborhoods opened up, getting salt down. Our equipment took a little bit of a beating because the amount of work that they were doing in a short period of time, but they all pitched in. They did a really good job. When I had a chance to go over to the DPS yard, I noticed that there were several DPS workers on the ground in the garage changing blades and doing a lot of other things. It wasn't necessarily their job description, but they were doing whatever they had to do to get the roads clear. And I appreciate the police department. Every time it snows like that, we have a snow emergency, we get a lot of calls and say, can you write some tickets? And I know they wrote some tickets because the next day we got phone calls from everybody that got a ticket and said, you wrote me a ticket, but not my neighbor across the street, and so on and so forth. But they did a good job. And then our fire department, they had to continue delivering service in those road conditions, and they did a great job. So we appreciate all their hard work. Council, I'd like to introduce the City of Westland's new Human Resource Director. She's with us tonight, Ms. Stephanie Field. She started today. She comes to the City of Westland with a long history in human resources, and she's been a long-time director for the Ann Arbor Public School District, so we know that she's going to do a great job for us. I was going to mention the master plan meeting, but Bruce did a pretty good job tonight in his opening comments. Once again, that's going to be on February 26th. It's here at 6:30 p.m., and it's open to the public, and we invite everybody to come out and participate. Steve Smith slipped me a note. I thought you were going to answer this one. He's gone. Wednesday, February 28th is the last day to pay winter taxes without a penalty. So that's always good information to have. Then, Council, I've been sending you some messages. We've been kind of filling some vacancies on our boards. Some of the appointments don't require council confirmation, but I've been making sure you're CC'd on those. And some of those were a couple reappointments to the Commission on Aging. Mr. John Erickson, he's been a Westland resident for 25 years. He's been really active at the Friendship Center for more than a decade, and he brings a lot to the Commission on Aging. And Miss Francine Harper, she's been active for the last 10 years, and she's definitely brought a lot to the Commission on Aging, especially in the matters of nutrition and healthy cooking, and she's been a great addition. And then Miss Diana Raymore, she's a longtime Westland resident. She's been an active member of the Friendship Center now for over 2 decades. There were also 2 reappointments to the Disability Concerns Committee. Mr. Anthony Farrak, he's lived in Westland for 35 years, and he's served on the committee for the past 4 years. He's also a member of the Hearing Loss Association of America, and he's also a certified peer mentor at Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C. And then Don Nicholson, we asked him for a short bio, and he gave us about a 10-chapter novel. But he does a great job. He's lived in Westland since 1983, and he's has several certificates and certifications in business administration, and his son Edward's autistic, and he's really brought a lot to the board as we try to make the city more compassionate for folks that are suffering from autism as well. Council, we're currently working to give you a list of all the openings and vacancies in all the city commissions. We've been kind of working lately on filling the ones that we had quorum issues with. But we're going to have this on the city's website, and I'll share it with you, and then once again, I'll ask you to help us try to fill those vacancies. I appreciate you moving forward with the one-day liquor license for the hockey night in Westland, and all the costs associated with that liquor license will be paid from the event itself. We expect over 800 people that night to raise money for the Mike Modano Ice Arena, so we do have tickets available here at City Hall that are on sale. So if you have any interest, you can either see us in the mayor's office or at the Mike Modano Ice Arena. And then just the last thing, council, is we got some good news recently. We received news from the state of Michigan that, at least in the budget that was presented to the state legislators by Governor Snyder for his 2019 budget recommendations, there was additional one-time monies of $175 million in road and bridge funding. So if the state approves the governor's recommended budget, or at least this portion of it, that additional money would be distributed back to communities following the Act 51 distribution. It actually accounts to about $175 million, and it looks like Westland's portion would be a little over $500,000. So that's over and above dollars that we were already expecting. So in light of that, and also in light of the federal, the president's, his new infrastructure bill, where it looks like the federal government, if this goes through, is going to come up with, I think, $1.9 trillion worth of federal money. One of the things that I want to make sure is that the city of Westland has done everything possible to qualify for those funds, and at this point, it's still kind of a moving target to see exactly what that's going to mean. And one of the things I'm worried about is infrastructure at the federal level could mean anything from airports to bridges to tunnels to ports or anything else. But here locally, what we're thinking about are roads and water and sewer improvements. So I'd like our DPS department, they're already started this. I directed them to work with the city's engineering department, OHM, to start putting together a 5-year roads plan and a 5-year water and sewer improvement plan that I'd like to sit down with council to get some input on based on the dollars that we know that will be coming to us. I think the more that we can identify projects and have them in the pipeline, I think that we'll be in a much better position to qualify for these dollars. Much like the stimulus dollars of, a few years ago, it was the shovel-ready projects that got the first crack at those funds. So they're going to put that together, and we'll be asking for some time with the study session to get council's input as well. And then I think that we'll go ahead and adopt that so that way it can be included in this year's budget. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thanks. Before I continue on, ma'am, I know that you were out in the hall talking to Mr. Thompson, and I said I would get back to you. Did he take care of your? Okay. Sure. Are there any comments from the city attorney's office?
Nothing from the city attorney's office. Thank you.
Begin council comments with Councilwoman Green.
Yes. Thank you. I would like to start by thanking the Wayne Westland Soccer League for coming in tonight and gracing us with the Pledge of Allegiance. They did a great job. I would also like to let everyone know that I have a Facebook page, Councilwoman Tasha Green, where you can find lots of information. Most recently, I posted a article from the state that will educate Michigan residents on how to get reimbursed for expenses for a lot of the potholes that we have all over the city and in every other city. I myself I lost a tire today. So if you find my Facebook page, Councilwoman Tasha Green, the article is broken out in terms of how to address it and solicit reimbursement for your expenses via the what county you're in and what streets the damage may have occurred on. Also wanted to just lightly speak to Mr. Smith's, Budget Director Smith's comments in terms of the bidding process. I can attest that there needs to be more transparency in the current bidding process in terms of the information that is provided. We do get some information, but we do not get enough information in terms of seeing the documentation when bids are sent out. We don't see all of the bids that are sent in. And so I just wanted to let Westland residents know that I have submitted a policy review for the bidding and contract process that will not only keep council members completely educated in terms of all of the activities regarding bids and everything that is needed to make a decision, but if this process is approved, you know, it would also make sure that everybody on the administrative team that is also involved with these decisions are informed as well, so that there's no miscommunication. And again, that's just something that I've submitted for review, and it is yet to be approved. And to the gentleman in the blue coat, you mentioned you're a retiree. I just wanted to clarify, because you referenced the mayor a couple times. During your comment, were you stating that you were standing in a gas station and you were asked to step aside so that our mayor could be serviced? So it was not our mayor? Okay, thank you. I'm glad I asked that question, because there's probably a lot of people who might watch this at home and okay. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, I would agree. And I'd be happy to speak to you after the meeting to see if it's anything that I can assist you with as well. You're welcome. I also wanted to just thank Mr. Merle and his wife who are here tonight. Mr. Merle is a long-term Westland resident, and he is an 18-year retiree. He has expressed his interest in joining one of our commissions, one of our many commission seats on the zoning board and appeals. We have an opening, and he has submitted a written request for consideration, and I'm very hopeful that he will receive a response to that request. He's lived here in the city for a very long time, has served this community, and he would like to continue to serve the city of Westland. So thank you, Mr. Merle. And also, there are other residents who are sitting in the audience who have also expressed interest to join some of our commissions and committees, and like myself, have not had the opportunity of consideration. And I'm hoping that that this process is streamlined so that it is done in a fair manner, and so that everyone, including elected officials like myself, have the ability for consideration on an equal basis, and that the commissions that are staffed with the same person on 3 and 4 and 5 commissions will be looked at to allow for openings for other Westland residents who would love to serve our city as well. And that is all I have tonight. Thank you.
Councilman Hammonds.
I too would like to thank our DPS crews for their great job they did on the snow removal. You know, they spent a lot of time in their trucks, and they worked extremely hard to keep our neighborhoods and streets safe. So thank you to all of our DPS workers and everybody that was involved in the cleanup. I too want to congratulate and welcome our Human Resource Director, Ms. Field. I did see that she had a great deal of experience in the past, and I do look forward to working with her. I too would also like to congratulate all those that have been appointed or reappointed to the boards recently. And if there's anything that we can do from a council standpoint to help you out, please let us know. And then I just had one more. I had one question through the chair to our city clerk. I had a question with regards to the requirement and timetable to get on the ballot, the consideration for term limits for Westland elected officials for the upcoming elections. Could you touch on our charter requirement, please?
Certainly, Councilman. I'll reference a conversation I had with another council member recently about a different proposed change to the charter, and I don't envision that there'd be any difference to it. Typically, there's one of two vehicles that are used to place something on a ballot for voter consideration that would involve a change to our charter, which is where that particular issue would be governed. Offhand, I think it's Chapter 7 of the city charter indicates it can either be led by a voter initiative, in other words, ballots that are proposed that are circulated for signatures, and if there are petitions, rather, not ballots, petitions that are circulated by a citizen-led group, and if there are sufficient numbers and that they're verified, then an item could become placed on a ballot. Second to that, and it's actually comparable to the last time the city charter was changed, the council could pass a resolution, and by doing so could place an item on the ballot for consideration involving a change to the charter. The last time that occurred, if I'm not mistaken, was when the filing for public office was modified from strictly petitions to petitions or a filing fee. And I'm pretty certain that the council placed that onto a ballot. But certainly I can take another look at that and respond to the entire council.
Thank you. And if you could.
And as far as the timing is governed by the state as to when the election is held. And if you're seeking something for the November ballot, I'm fairly certain, just based on recollection, that the timing would suggest early May for a resolution to be adopted or petitions to be submitted.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Councilman Hart.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. Again, I'd also like to thank the DPS team. I know you've heard it a few times. They really did a fantastic job. I had the luxury or the unfortunate necessity to travel extensively during the snowstorms, and as I came in and out of the city and I moved into some of our neighboring cities, our roads, at least in those conditions, ours were far better than some of our neighbors. So again, I thank them. It's no easy feat. They worked really hard. So again, I passed on my thanks to them. I'd like to do it again. Anybody at home sees them know they really did work as hard as they could. Wanted to let everybody know this weekend, Show Me the Money Day, financial literacy program put on by our friends at the Wayne Metropolitan Community Action Agency in partnership here at the City of Westland and a number of local financial institutions. It's a program that offers some good financial literacy training, some save for the future, what to do with your dollars and cents. Could be a good program from some of the young people at home or some of the older ones like me that didn't get that excellent training when they were younger. So go ahead, show up. They're going to have some free food that's going to be at the Jefferson Barnes Community Vitality Center, February 26th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that's at 32150 Dorsey Street here in Westland, 48186. Beyond that, I look forward to the new Taco Bell coming in. My son's a huge Taco Bell fan, and our Taco Bell that's closest to us on Wayne Road sometimes is wrapped all the way around and back out into the street again, so I'll have options to hit a second one when my 10-year-old is bugging me for Taco Bell, and I don't have to spend a half hour. So look forward to seeing that. And actually, it's good to see some development going on Ford Road. We kind of started the domino a little bit in some of our developments, so things like this, keeping the development momentum going, is a huge, huge boom for what we're going to see on the Ford Road in the future. So thank you to my colleagues for supporting that. I think it was definitely the right move. Looking forward to having them here. And I'll wrap it up with a small little plug for the JCs. For those of you who don't know, they had an outstanding weekend in Lansing. They took chapter of the trimester, chapter of the year, and then the overall Governor's Cup for the entire state of Michigan. So your Westland area JCs represented very well. And also their past president, Rebecca Marconi, earned the coveted Luthi Award. So way to go, JCs. Way to bring home the gold again to Westland. Thank you.
Councilman Johnson.
Thank you. I too would like to thank the DPS department. They started in the whole 3 days. We had 3 persistent days of snow. They did a great job. I too would like to welcome Ms. Field. I think she is gone though. Comment on this pump. I had a lengthy discussion with Mr. Harnos. He did indicate to me that there were other bids and they contacted other people. It was a huge expense, but had we not done that, we would have lost those greens quite possibly. And once you lose the greens on a golf course, you're done for 2 years. We would have had no income. My thoughts on the golf course is we need to do something other than have a golf course with it. Mr. Hammond indicated if it closed in 2 years. I've looked at some maps and stuff with Mr. Thompson. If we could get a contractor to purchase that property, it would be a pretty good sum, and we could put 200 houses on that piece of property. I would like to see us entertain something like that rather than keep nursing that golf course. But without that pump, we would have lost those greens if it got hot for any time at all. And he indicated to me that that was the big hurry for him to get it done because the companies could have been too busy later on in the year to come and do that. But I think the golf course is something that we don't need. It's a 9-hole course. People want to play 18 holes when they go. I think it would be better served with houses on the property, just to be totally honest. And it's rather old. There's going to be other expenses. If we don't want to go through other expenses, we certainly should look at trying to sell that property to a contractor. And that's all I got to say. But Mr. Harnos did share some information with me. Obviously, you didn't get it because he and I talked for half an hour. That's all I got. Thanks.
Councilman Londa.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone for attending tonight on this nice spring-like day. I want to welcome the new Personnel Director, Ms. Stephanie Field, to the City of Westland. I look forward to working with you, and I wish you well in your new role. And I sound like a broken record, but I also want to thank the Westland DPS employees for all their hard work with the large snowfall that we had. Like Councilman Johnson said, we got off to a slow start with all the snow coming. It was coming for days on end, nonstop, and it's not easy to get a handle on the roads when the snow just keeps coming. So thank you to them. They work on minimal sleep and they work long hours, and it rarely gets appreciated. So I wanted to make sure to thank them for their hard work, and I also want to thank the residents for their patience during the storm. And I've been wanting to mention this for a couple weeks. It's my understanding our animal control officer this winter has rescued over 50 to 60 animals this winter that were exposed to freezing temperatures. And not only was she out rescuing animals when they were below negative temps, she would, if she saw pets outside, she'd leave educational material explaining what happens to animals and letting people know it's a misdemeanor in all 50 states if you're leaving your animal out in the freezing temps. So I really appreciate the compassion shown by this individual, and I just wanted to share my appreciation publicly. And I want to thank those that braved the snowstorm to attend our coffee hour on February 10th with myself, Councilman Herzberg, and Councilman Gabout. Thank you to Mrs. Kozak for her kind words on that. I agree. It's great to get in front of the residents and be in an informal setting and get to know each other a little better personally. And as far as I'm concerned, the first 2 went really well. We had a lot of great ideas at both, and I look forward to our next one, which will be Saturday, March 10th at the Jefferson Barnes Community Vitality Center in the Norwayne Room at 12 p.m. I'd like to thank the Norwayne Community Citizens Council for donating the room to us, and they're actually going to donate the coffee as well. And again, I'd like to urge my colleagues to join us at any time. Just get with myself or Councilman Herzberg if your schedule allows it, and we'd love to schedule you in for an upcoming date. And we talked about during the summer months moving it outside, and instead of doing coffee, maybe an ice cream social or hot dogs or something along those lines, maybe at a park. So speaking of Jefferson Barnes, I attended the Norwayne Community Citizens Council last week, and I understand the library over there at Jefferson Barnes really needs volunteers. So if you know anybody that's interested or willing to serve or help out our library over there, they could use help on multiple days. You can call Jefferson Barnes at 734-419-2680. And I do want to give a plug for the WYAA, the Westland Youth Athletic Association. They had a meeting here at City Hall a few weeks ago. I popped my head in and actually got invited in, so I appreciate it. I say I crashed the party, but they allowed me to sit in and listen. Their board of directors met with our Parks and Recreation director, Brian Harnos. It was the board of directors, the unit directors, and coaches were on hand, and they had a very productive discussion. So I appreciate the administration making it a priority to work with our youth sports organizations to help them grow their programming, letting them know that we're here to help them any way we can. And with that, they're having an event March 6th at Airtime Trampoline and Game Park at 36901 Warren Road to celebrate 60 years with the WIAA. So if you come on out, you can meet the board and sports directors and coaches from 4 to 8. Cheer on your favorite coaches in a red versus blue dodgeball game from 6 to 7, and our Parks and Recreation director is going to ref that, so that'll be fun. And the big thing is about this, it's only $10 per person. You get 2 hours of jump time, but they're going to be raffling off 3 free registrations, one for the baseball, one for the Westland Comets, and one for the Westland Meteors. So great opportunity to get your kids signed up for free by just attending this event and showing support for the WIA for $10. I want to thank Councilwoman Green and Councilman Hersberg, excuse me. It was a great meeting with you two on 3 separate occasions for our Council Policies and Procedures Committee. There were times our discussion got a little testy, but that's okay. Shouldn't always agree on everything, but I think we were able to come to a consensus and bring something forward to our city council. And as a few people said tonight, I encourage everyone to attend the Master Plan Community Summit next week at City Hall. I've had the pleasure of serving on that committee for almost a year, and there's a lot of great stuff coming from our consultant, OHM, and it's always important to get our residents' input involved at that. So I'd like to see you there. That's it. Thank you.
Councilman Hersberg.
Thank you. Thanks, Councilman Londo, for giving a plug for the coffee hour and for the master plan meeting. You know, the goal with some of this stuff is to try to have some of these conversations outside the council meeting. And, you know, our coffee hour, we talked a lot about parks and programming and the sports, and it was pretty good. You know, the thing I'm most proud of is that we had Democrats, we had Republicans. You know, nobody talked about any of those controversial issues. We sat down, we talked about the city. We tried to come to agreements on what we think is best, and I think it's going to be good moving forward. Regarding the board and commission vacancies, you know, I saw a letter of interest floating around here today. You know, if any residents want to check on the city website, any of the openings, the administration's working to keep that updated as the appointments are made. And if you see openings or something that you're interested in, feel free to. The best way is to send a letter of interest through email or get a hold of through the mayor's office. But if you have an easy contact with one of the council members, I'm sure all of us would be happy to forward that letter of interest as well. And again, the master plan meeting is going to be February 26th at 6:30 right here at City Hall. So if you want to come out for that and see what the conversation's about, everybody's invited. And then regarding the expenses at the golf course, I just want to give words of support for it. You know, I mean, if we were going to talk about selling the golf course or developing it, that should have taken place before we were going to talk about making investments. So, thanks.
I'd like to start off my comments thanking the Wayne Westland Soccer League for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. That has to be the largest group that we've ever had lead the Pledge of Allegiance before the meeting, and the kids did a great job. They were very, came in. It was amazing how quiet they were walking in and leaving. So, again, thanks to the Wayne Westland Soccer League. I know they're gearing up for their season in the spring, and I'm sure they're looking for people to register. You can get a hold. We'll have on the website. I think there is a link to the Wayne Westland Soccer League on our city webpage. If not, we'll try and get one up there so that if there's youth interested in participating in that, they can get a hold of the appropriate group. And I too would on the whole issue of turning the golf course into residential property. It's been talked about on and off, never with any great effort put forth to try and see what would, if there was a developer that was available. I will tell you that one of the things that this council's heard in the past, and we heard at our breakfast, or the coffee that we had, was the need for recreation in the community. And so taking one of the few, basically the only outside golf course that we've got in the city and turning it in and losing more recreation in the city really needs to be looked at and considered as part of our master plan process. So again, I would encourage people to show up for the master plan meeting next Monday so that they can provide their input on it as well. I too would like to welcome Stephanie, our new budget director, or HR director, I'm sorry. I know we went through an extensive search process, and I'm sure she'll do a great job for us. And the only other thing I have is, I'd like to have the city attorney's office look at section 6.13 of our charter and come up with potential language for, to be put on the ballot in regards to the city newspaper. A couple of my colleagues have asked that we look at eliminating the need for publishing in a hard copy newspaper as part of our charter requirement and move that to an electronic format. So I'd like the city attorney's office to, look at that and come back with some recommended language or what it would take in order for those changes to be made so that we could potentially get it on the ballot. Yes, Mike?
City Attorney's Office can definitely look into that, and we'll get back with you on that.
Thanks. And that's all I have this evening. Is there a motion to adjourn?